the teacher started to talk, and he said, "This is Mrs. Mars, and Mrs. Mars spent 3.5 years in concentration camp, and she is going to tell you all about it." And then he said, "Now you speak, you know." And there I was, and I spoke fluently, and I was amazed about myself. The words just came out naturally, and the children were quiet. They didn't say boo, nothing. And once I was finished with my speech, then the teacher said, "And now you can ask Mrs. Mars." And they put up their finger, and I said, you, and I answered their questions, and the questions what they asked me. One asked me, "Why didn't you kill yourself?" I said, "How could we kill ourselves? There were no cars to lie under or a train to lie under. We had no poison, we had no gas, we had no sharp knives to cut our wrist. I said there was no high houses to jump down from. I said there was no possibility, you know." And those kids, unbelievable. They wrote later on, when they went home, they wrote me letters. Larry, I showed Larry just the other day, because I'm a very sentimental person. I kept all the letters from those kids, and some of them are very interesting. Yeah.
So one young lady.
And one young lady from one of the classes, which didn't know then, she was, her mother was divorced from her husband, and she had 3 children, and she had to bring up the children alone. And and that girl from that class, she was the oldest one, and the mother, I don't know why she blamed her for something, or why she treated her terribly. And that girl was very unhappy, and she really considered that she is going to take her own life, that she is not going to stand a life like that with her mother. And when she heard my story, she said to herself, when that woman went through what she went through, and she succeeded, and she lived after that, and she is here to tell her story, I also can survive. And she went afterwards, I think she went to the library, and she studied Jewish books, and then she got in touch with Jewish children, because in that school there are no Jewish children, there are only Christian children, and most of them are from the South American countries. And she got very interested in the Jewish religion, and she was invited for a birthday party to one of the girls she met, and there were also boys invited. And there was one boy that attended the yeshiva, and they fell in love. And this girl, who had no idea about Jewish religion and about anything, until I was in that classroom, she became Jewish. She became Jewish, and she married that man, and he became a rabbi. They live in California, and they're very, very happily married. And there was another girl. She was not in the same class, she was in another year. I think she was 1 or 2 years younger. And I lectured for a few years in the same class with the same teacher. And she became a nurse, and she also became Jewish. for no reason at all. But they were so impressed by what I said that they wanted to belong to the Jewish religion. The girl that became a nurse, she was here just a couple of weeks ago and visited me. And I was so surprised about her. I made lunch for her, and she just ate little rolls. And afterwards, she took out her cell phone, and then I could see that she mumbled something, you know. I said, "You listen to your email?" She says, "No, I'm praying." So she said the prayer after meal in Hebrew. Yeah. Unbelievable how religious and even Orthodox they became.
So after everything you went through,
Yeah.
you still recommend people to become Jewish? You still will tell somebody it's good to be Jewish?
Yeah.
Why?
The impression what they got from my story, you know, and my belief, and it must have gone over to them somehow. I cannot explain it any other way. Yeah.
So what?
I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. That so many Jewish people were killed because they were Jews. And now those two Christian girls, they became Jewish. And because of me, because of what they heard from my life, that made me very proud.
Did they ever tell you why?
I have the story. I have the story from herself.
Okay.
From the rabbi's side.
So do you remember, like, what is the reason she decided to convert?
What I told you, the same story what I said, that she suffered so much under her mother, and when she heard my story, that she decided to become Jewish. Yeah. And she is a very strong Jew, and so is the other one.
So I have another question I was just thinking about. For many people that were Jewish, right?
Yeah.
They used to say, they still say, if there was really God, God would never let this happen.
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
Well, there are people, I know somebody who thinks like that and who survived and who still says that, you know? But he goes every Friday night in the synagogue, not because he wants to pray or he wants to be near God. He wants to meet people. Yeah, because he's lonely. His wife has passed away and the children don't live where he lives. And he always tells me that. God wouldn't allow that what happened to us. That was not, there is no God.
But
my belief is very strong. I believe in God and I pray every day, my own prayers, not from the prayer book. Because whatever is in the prayer book, I do not understand. I can read it, but I cannot translate it. And my belief is very strong because I'm out free, and after that, what happened? I found a husband that was wonderful to me, and I have a son and a grandson. I should not be happy and thankful. It comes from God. I believe in it. I'm not Orthodox.
So even during the concentration camp days, there were people with you that were more religious than you, right?
Some people became more religious and some people forgot about the religion. Some people are one is different from the other. You know, you cannot judge.
So now Larry's not here.
Yeah.
What do you want Larry to know about you, about what you went through? And for Evan to remember, they have the book, right?
Well, whatever first of all, I wanted them to know how I grew up. You know, my youth, what we did and how we were to our parents and to our grandparents. We were a very close-knit family, and we spent all the holidays together. And the parents of my father were very orthodox. We were not. We would never have eaten in our house. We had no kosher house in Germany. And that was the main reason, you know. And they should know what happened to me. Why not? Why shouldn't they know?
Mm-hmm.
You see, when Larry was little, we had a lot of friends who were also with us in camp. And of course, whenever you talk, the end of it is always, you remember this and you remember that, and from concentration camp, you know. And we always thought he didn't hear it, you know. But he told me later, much later, you know, years later. He said, Mom, I heard everything. I knew what happened.
So that's good. So you have a grandson, and he gets to read it?
I don't think that my grandson is that much interested.
Because he's young.
He has my book, and he
Yeah.
has, I'm sure he has read it, but he never asked me questions, or he never mentioned it.
Because he's too young, Hannelore, you know?
Me many questions.
Yeah.
You know how he works now with the book?
Yeah, but you know,
I'm very proud of him.
but you know what's going to happen.
I didn't ask him to do that. He did that by himself.
Yeah. And when Evan has a child,
Yeah.
it's all going to change for him, because he's going to understand why it's so important for Larry and why it's important to you. Right?
I didn't want to have the book published in Germany either. That was not my intention. But that was actually the thoughts behind my thinking. You know?
So how
I always said in the beginning of the concentration camp, I said already, I want to tell the world. Right?
how did the Germans react? Because you went back there, you had book signing.
Surprising.
What did they say?
I have pictures from the opening. They invited me to the opening. And the first opening was in that town where my mother-in-law comes from. In that synagogue was the first opening. It was packed to the last seat. And they knew what it was going to be, you know. And the people were standing in line to have me sign my book. They didn't want to have any book should go out without my signature.
Mm-hmm.
And they came to me and unbelievable. And the next day was the opening in my hometown, in Stuttgart. They had built a synagogue, a new synagogue where the old one was before, and it was bigger than the one in the village, and it was packed to the last seat. Matter of fact, the people were standing up in the back. And the same thing happened with the signing of the book. I signed at least 100 books one evening. You know?
Mm-hmm. And
one man came and he gave me some photography from the place where our parents were shot from the forest. They had built memorials there all kinds of memorials. And they said, the man, a stranger, said to me, I think that you might be interested in those pictures. I said, yes, and I thank you very much. He just disappeared. He didn't want to have anything for readings and nothing. He gave it to me, and I was very grateful for that. Because how else should I get pictures from there, from Rita?
So I have one last question. I grew up in Israel, and many of the Jews in Israel, they came from Germany, concentration camps. They always said, I don't want to talk to Germans, I don't want to buy anything made in Germany, and every time somebody mentioned the name Germany, they would spit. So how do you feel about that?
You'll be surprised. When I went the first time to Germany, we were invited from my husband's hometown, which is a university, and a bigger university. I was very unhappy. I didn't know anybody, and I said to my husband, we don't belong here. And I couldn't get fast enough out of Germany again that time. And when we got here to the airport, I said to my husband, if I wouldn't be ashamed of the other passenger from the plane, I would kneel down on the floor and kiss the ground here in New York. My husband said to me, I feel the same way. And then, after my husband passed away, I was in Stuttgart invited. Well, in Stuttgart I was invited, and I knew people. I had my husband's cousins there. He called me just yesterday. And they're lovely people. She's Jewish born, the mother was Jewish, but her husband is not. But they're very Jewish minded, And they were wonderful to me, And I had a good time there. In the third time but we were only together with people from the second generation. Never saw anybody from the old people, from our old neighbors or whatever. Nobody came forward. The only ones that came forward was two of my school comrades. They came forward. They saw me in the newspaper. And they came to me, and they had checked up, but both have died in the meantime. But the third time I was in Stuttgart was the opening for my book, and they paid for it too. I have never paid for any trip to Germany since I came here. We are always invited, and we always have been together with people from the second generation. Through my book, I have made a lot of friends. A lot of people came forward and they called me or wrote to me. Strangers. In the building where we used to live all my youth, and we had to move out because we were Jews, there are different people living now. They're mostly young people, young couples. Those people came forward and they wrote to me, and they sent me even pictures from each of the apartments, from each person in that apartment. And just last week I had a telephone call from a woman I have never seen in my life. And she always calls me from time to time. She sends me cards, and she puts extra flowers on it, stickers, and they very, very nice, and I must say, couldn't be better. Yeah. So they said to me already that we are ashamed that we are German, what they did. Yeah. That's what they said.